let's start with you here in terms of giving us the lay of the land. This is only a computer glitch. There's nothing more sinister going on, is there?
It's been ruled out that this would be any sort of act of cyber terrorism. So that's one area where people can breathe a sigh of relief. But this is still a problem that's going to take a little while to work through. Even though the State Department issued 45,000 visas yesterday, they're back online on 2/3 of the consulates. You were seeing a backlog rising by the tune of about 50,000 visas a day for about 2 weeks. So it's going to be a couple more weeks before everybody gets where they're supposed to be getting. And this is the second glitch in the last year, which makes you wonder about the stability of the State Department system overall.
Tom, what does this mean for farmers? How much money are they losing, and why is now a really bad time for this to be happening?
Well, they're losing millions of dollars a day. I spoke to one of our members who lost half of his crop. It was about a $700,000 hit. There are several others. It's a very delicate market because of the strawberry harvest that's in full flow right now, and the labor demands are going to be increasing. But on top of our water shortage, and now have this labor shortage for those few areas that actually have water is devastating.
And Tom, part of that is, right, this is the time where farmers wind up coming from across borders for sort of part-time work in dealing with a harvest. Is that right? Is that why this time is so critical?
Yes, these are seasonal agricultural workers that we get from the federal government under the H-2A visa program.
And Alan, I want to make sure that we understand this is not limited, the fallout that is, to the agriculture industry. Other industries, too, are suffering from the fact that visas can't get through for their workers.
Oh, it's definitely not only affecting agriculture, although agriculture is one of the best examples, since literally you will see crops that don't get harvested. And this is something that permeates the economy in a million small ways. There's certainly no shortage in the H-1B program of people who have visas to work in the United States. They leave the country for a while to get their visa renewed, and for the last couple of weeks, they haven't been able to come back. You also see hit on the tourism industry. You know, there will be touring productions from all over the world, can't come to the U.S. If your festival is built around them, now you're scrambling for entertainment for your festival. It happens in many, many small ways, in everything from technology to tourism to business travel. It's been a mess. It's starting to get worked out, but it's still going to take a while to be worked out completely.
And what if you had a wedding and all of a sudden some of your relatives couldn't wind up coming over as well? Tom, what do you need to see to feel confident that this won't happen again?
We need to get more of the posts on the border reconnected with the system. They say they've reconnected about 39 posts out of approximately 294 posts, and some of those posts are right here in California. Tijuana is reconnected, but Nogales is not reconnected, so we can't get any of those employees through the system. They have a backlog of probably a couple of weeks, plus the fact that they've had to delay interviews of many of these workers at the border.
And Tom, to what extent does the visa glitch problem bring to light some of the bigger issues with the H-2A program, which is the program that farmers use to hire their agricultural workers?
It's a very difficult program to work with. It's very complicated. The Department of Labor has a difficult time answering questions because they say they're short on employees to do that. It requires an attorney to be involved. You never know if you're going to get workers there for the harvest. This makes the case, if it ever did, for doing something about the workers that we have in this country, who have been in this country for a long time and who are really the most experienced people, getting them some sort of legal status so they can stay here. That way, if we have a computer glitch, it doesn't affect us to the same extent. Also, we ought to have redundant systems in the State Department on these visa printing applications.
Alan, you kind of heard Tom's wish list of what he wants to see the State Department do and what can fix this problem. What are the chances that any of this will be changed?
Certainly this raises attention and awareness to the problem, but try to get something through Congress this year on immigration. You know, some of the responses you've seen coming from the State Department, Department of Homeland Security, they've been very careful on this issue in terms of stressing the security of the system and the need to keep system integrity so that the wrong people don't get into the country. It's so politically sensitive that it constrains some of the efforts that you take to even resolve these problems, and the prospects for a long-term, more systemic fix on the political level that Tom is talking about doesn't seem likely in the near future.
Yeah, well, Tom, to that end, what kind of support do you have for better legislation that governs how we hire agricultural workers and bring them into this country?
Well, I think there are many legislators who want to fix the problem, but as you know, they don't have the votes to get it fixed. Take, for example, the House of Representatives, where they've had a difficult time passing anything that has to do with immigration reform. It takes 218 votes, and there are probably 40 or 50 Republicans who don't want to vote for any sort of immigration reform, even something they might advocate. That means you have to work with the Democrats, and it's been difficult to find a compromise between the Republicans and the Democrats to come up with a bipartisan bill. We had a great bill out of the Senate. I participated in the negotiation of that immigration bill for agriculture, but we couldn't get it done in the House.
Anyway, the farmer lobby is really important lobby in Washington. Alan, I'm just curious, are we going to hear anything in terms of compensation to farmers in this area?
That I have not heard anything about. Now, remember, there are about 1.2 million migratory farm workers in the United States. According to Labor Department estimates, about half of them, maybe more than half, aren't here legally. The number of visas that are affected is a relatively small portion. Now, it's been devastating to some growers, and that's going to be something that's going to have to be worked out. Taking a look at it from the broader perspective, again, as Tom was saying, this underscores the dependence we have on what is already an unwieldy system.
Yeah, and very quickly, just final question for you, Alan, do we see any impact on prices yet? Have you seen produce prices go higher because of this?
We have not, and it's going to be interesting to see how the supply chain deals with this, because once again, there will be suppliers that will be short of their supplies. How much that will be made up by domestic suppliers versus, ironically, imported fruits and vegetables remains to be seen.